Good day, dear friends. It is the second class from uh, Appreciating Fiction, and I hope that you now have an idea about fiction, short stories, etc. So, here we are just starting the short stories one after the other, but you will find that I have selected one from not from the very beginning but from the last, and by this time you must have had your text, you must have bought it, or else download the short story from your net and have a copy with you because it makes interesting reading. I'll be going with you with the this through this short stories. The story that I have chosen for today is by Ken Liu, and the name of the story is The Paper Menagerie. So, shall we begin? Because we have to start somewhere. And short stories are interesting. They are short fiction, and at the same time, it has only one theme, and you can finish reading it at one sitting. These are the features of a short story, as you have learned earlier. The author, Ken Liu, as the name suggests, is of Chinese origin, and he is a person who had settled in America. And his short story, The Paper Menagerie, was written in the year 2011. It was first published in the magazine of fantasy and science fiction. And there are the other works of Ken Liu, The Grace of Kings, The Wall of Storms, The Man Who Ended History, which is a documentary, The Bookmaking Habits of Select Species. These are all some of the works of Ken Liu. So, why is Chinese American's short story included in your collection? It is significant because you get to know people, and people from all walks of life. So we start our short story with O. Henry, and he is a famous short story writer. Then you have Sally Morgan and a lot of Maxine Gorky and so many others. People representing maybe each section of society or from different countries also. So Ken Liu is significant here because he was born in China. You will find that he was born in Langon, China, in the year 1976, which means he is comparatively young. The family emigrated to United States when he was 11 years old. His mother is a chemist with a PhD. Father is a computer engineer, and he spent his childhood with his grandparents. He graduated in English literature and computer science and worked as software engineer for Microsoft. Later, he took a degree from Law School and started working as a corporate lawyer. His first published work was Carthaginian Rose, and it was in the year 2002, and it is a short story based on mind uploading. So it is more science fiction and fantasy fiction, and he also started translating Chinese authors into English. Moreover, he writes fiction, science fiction, and he also writes stories with the magical realism, fantasy fiction, and so on. So this is about Ken Liu, who was born in China and who was taken to the United States when he was 11 years old, and the parents started working there. So the first 11 years was with his grandparents, and later he was able to spend time with his parents, studied uh, a contrasting subject like English literature and computer science. What a combination! But even then, it proved to be good for us because he had an affinity towards literature, which maybe helped him to write his stories better. And as a computer science person, he was able to deal with the science fiction and fantasy aspects. So you find that the title Paper Menagerie is actually menagerie is a term which you give to a collection of animals. In a zoo, we say a zoo, but it is actually a menagerie, a collection of animals. So, paper menagerie means maybe animals made of paper, and that collection is what we call as paper menagerie. So the story is narrated by the author, or you find a narrator. We think that it is the author, but it is not an autobiographical story because we know that he was born in China and not in the United States, as the narrator says. The narrator was born in United States. So it is about the his earliest memory, and that was of he was really sobbing uncontrollably. That is the term that he uses there. And his father tried to soothe him, and he found that it was useless. The baby started sobbing like anything. The mother also tried to sob to stop the sobbing, but she found something. She started instead of comforting him, she started taking paper from the top of the fridge where she used to keep the Christmas wrappings, Christmas gift wrappings. You find the colored sheets of paper which we use for gift wrapping, and the mother has got the habit of keeping everything neat and tidy and folding it and keeping it there for further use. Most mothers usually do that. So, or maybe some elders in the family usually do that. So, his mother started folding a sheet of wrapping paper, and the child looked curiously on because somehow or other, instead of trying to soothe the child, there is no soothing him because he is sobbing uncontrollably. Suddenly, she started doing something, and that attracted the attention of the child. The colorful wrapping paper. The wrapping paper is not a dim color, but it is pretty colors and beautiful pictures on that. Somehow or other, it is attractive to a child. So the mother started folding those papers. Within no time at all, there was a paper tiger before him. The skin of the tiger, of course, was the pattern on the wrapping paper. Instead of the color of the usual tiger's colors or the tiger's design, the this particular tiger had the pattern of the wrapping paper that is used by the mother in order to create this paper tiger. Okay, so here you find that the mother had this gift of creating something out of this paper. His mother's breath was shared by her paper animals and thus moved with her life. So his mother made the tiger and started blowing into the tiger, and the paper just puffed up, and the animal, that is the tiger, started trembling, moving here and there, and the child was attracted. He wanted more. So the mother once again started making paper animals and breathed her breath into these animals. And because of that breath, they started vibrating. And so the boy says his mother's breath was shared by her paper animals and thus moved with her life. So this was her magic. What was the magic of the mother? The mother was a good artist. She could make animals with the paper, and along with that, she could also make the animals move, and that by blowing her breath into the animal and make it tremble. And this is how she made the paper tiger and the paper animals move. And this attracted the attention of the child. The child was curious and stopped sobbing, and was now started interested in getting interested in the paper animals created by its mother. So here, the art of folding paper and create things is called origami. I'm sure that you have heard of that term. And you make a lot of things with this origami. And it is so beautiful. And people who are really interested, I remember once when somebody started folding papers, pieces and pieces of paper, and finally it came out to be a beautiful swan, and these small pieces were folded and kept in a box, school box. And then finally when the person comes home, that person will collect all these folded papers and will connect it, and then a beautiful swan is created. And this is an art which is especially of Japanese origin, and in a way it is something that really people take up, not just in one country but all over the world. And so, even in our country, also, you will find people who are really interested in this paper craft, not just one or two animals, but different. And the art of this folding paper and creating things from that is called origami. You get instructions also in some place, and this is why they create different types of animals or whatever things that you like. Liu's mother talked to him in Chinese. That is, even though they are living in the United States, his mother always talked to him in Chinese, showed him that this is a tiger, but she used not the word tiger, but the term in Chinese. And in a way, the mother always talked to the child in her native language, and the child also started picking up this language. So altogether, it was a cozy enough atmosphere between the child and the mother. So seeing the paper tiger move with the breath of the mother, Liu forgot his sobbing and started laughing. So the mother was trying to stop the child sobbing, and usually the mothers take the child and try to soothe it in one way or the other. And the father did that, but the mother found that it was no use. So she had to use some shocking tactics. And this shocking tactics that she employed is that of making paper tigers, making a paper tiger with the wrapping of the Christmas gift. Okay. And the art of folding paper and creating things is called origami. So you find that Leo's mother was quite adept in creating something or the other out of this paper wrappings. Maybe this is the reason why she took off the paper wraps from the gift and removed the folds and kept it safely in one place. And people who have some plan of doing things with that paper will collect that paper. If you are not interested in that, you will just take it off and put it in the waste bin. But certain people are attracted towards this kind of paper wrappings, gift wrappings, and they plan to make something out of it. And maybe they have that idea with them as to what is to be made out of this. And Leo's mother was no different. She started collecting it, and when the child was sobbing uncontrollably, she had this strange idea of using this paper and making a tiger. Not that the child recognized it as a tiger, but maybe the color of the paper was so attractive that the child felt like being attracted towards these colorful things. So the mother soothingly talked to him in Chinese, and she breathed her breath into the tiger so that the tiger started vibrating. To the child, this is indeed something interesting. So the child stopped its sobbing and started laughing. So this is something that the child remembers about his earliest memory. Not that he got a play, something to play with, dolls or anything, but this is the toy that the mother made for him. And you know that you can't just use this paper tigers as a child roughly uses the other toys. But somehow or other, this is delicate. But even then, the mother, and maybe the wrapping paper is not as fragile as anything, but at the same time, it has got a sturdiness. And maybe that's why she had kept those papers with her and use that to make the paper tiger. So the colorful outside is kept as the outside for the paper tiger. She is not bothered with the lack of the colors of the tiger, but she knew that the child will appreciate it. And the shape is that of the tiger. So the first section of the story is actually the earliest memory of Liu as a child. So, the his as a child, he remembers his mother's special skill of creating paper animals, and the art form called origami is also mentioned here. So, also, uh, the way his mother kept the Christmas gift wraps of colored paper, and this shows that his mother is resourceful. Almost all mothers are resourceful when it comes to children, or they will be resourceful when they have one or two kids, because that's the way things or life goes on. You can't always run to the shop and buy things for the child, and there is a limit to everything. And so, with whatever that is available, usually mothers make out something or the other. And as children, we are not critical about it, because as children do not know how to compare it this with other people's toys, nor does he know that there are toys which can be bought from the shop, and maybe more than the toys, the toys bought from the outside shop. He was attracted by this strange colored tiger and the mother's special skill. The mother is not just presenting him with a tiger, but she is folding the paper before the child, doing some work, and is now that paper is now transformed before the child's eye into that of a tiger. So, this art form is called origami. Here, you find that there are a lot of things significant, because the tiger is indeed something that is connected to China, because you have the third name, or the uh, zodiac signs. The third name is that of the tiger, and certain years are that of the year of the tiger, and people or children born of that year has got so much of things. And this tiger year comes usually after 12 years. There is a span of 12 years in between. So here, this is something that is connected, the connected reading, because all this have a much significance for the paper menagerie or the tiger that the mother made for the child. The mother is Chinese born, and the child is also belongs to the mother, and father they are of Chinese origin. And for them tiger is significant, and maybe the mother wanted the child to be as brave as the tiger. And so maybe because of this reason she started creating a tiger out of the things that are available to her. And the thing that is available to her is nothing other than the Christmas gift wrapping, and these are colored papers. As I've told you earlier in the beginning, they are beautiful colored paper. Not just some of them are not just plain colors. You have all types of designs there. Sometimes flowery design, sometimes a beautiful design. Gift wrapping, paper designing is indeed an art, and you can have any type of gift wraps and papers, and wrap your gifts in that. And this is something that people had been doing there for a long time. And the mother always keeps these Christmas wraps, Christmas gift wraps safely, so that a time will come when she can use it in the proper manner. Only because of that, she had kept these colored papers. Now there is a chance for her to use that. So when the child started sobbing uncontrollably, instead of taking the child into her lap and soothing it, or even putting the child to the shoulder and soothing it, she just kept the child there and before his very eyes started doing something. The child was curious as to what the mother is doing. And so the colored paper also was so very attractive to a child. And as you all know, children are attracted by the colors. And so rather than the things or even the shape of the things, they are attracted by the color of the things. And maybe this really affected the child well, and so, within no time at all, the mother was able to complete making a tiger out of paper. And this art of creating something or creating an animal or a flower of out of a paper is called origami. That is an art which people had been following and doing, and they really enjoy doing that. And beautiful things are created out of that. And there is even a film about it, about origami. That is about a child who was interested in creating and or her parents are also interested in creating these paper things for her, and she used to remember something by the paper, by the animals that the person made, and so on the story goes. So everywhere you will find, if you really are into the art or something, if you have a little bit of artistic taste or taste for craft, then you will be using the paper. You will not be waiting for the colored papers or whatever paper is available, you will start creating. And the shape that comes out of it is that which is significant. And so here, the mother did not bother about the paper or anything. She just took the wrappings that she had kept, the colored paper, and started folding it before the child. And that in itself is curious. And the child had this curiosity, and so the child stopped sobbing, or maybe forgot to sob, and started getting interested in what the mother is doing. And so mom started folding the paper, and within no time at all, before the child, there was a tiger. And for some time, the child and the sobbing was stopped, and the child really started laughing. Within the span of a very short time of creating a tiger out of a paper, the child had forgot to sob, and started laughing. That is really magic. And elsewhere, you will find the narrator telling us that she breathed her breath into these animals, making them live or making them go or vibrate with life. And these moving toys are attractive to a child. Color, moving toys, movement, everything is attractive to them. So if you have really checked the children's toys, children for the age group of such and such, you will find some special toys designed for them, depending on the psychology of the child, the colors and even smooth things and things which vibrate, all these get the attention of the child, and in a way it is good for the child also. So the mother had really been resourceful, because she had kept these Christmas gift wraps and of the Christmas gift wraps and the colored paper, and that in itself is significant. This is no ordinary mother. This mother is totally different. She is resourceful, immensely resourceful, because she has got the skill of creating things out of paper, and she did not try to buy or spend more money on that, but with the limited resources, she was able to create beauty, and that beauty was appreciated by her child. And this is the earliest memory that Liu had about his life, and especially about his mother. So, Ken Liu is speaking to us about the animals that his mother made. And as he was telling the stories, there is you will find that after the first page, you will find that stories gets more personal. this is a little bit personal, but at the same time, this is something like a mother baby relationship, which we can understand. But from the next section onwards, it gets to be all the more interesting, and at the same time too personal, and you also get an other side to the story. The story is being written from United States and from America, and the he is of the Chinese origin. His parents are also Chinese origin, and they have been settled there for a long time. And it is from there you find the story is produced. So the narrator is looking back to his life, early life, and why is he looking back? That's again a question that you'll have to keep in mind. And why this paper menagerie? Again, that is also very important, and everything is revealed in the next few pages. And the story is not too long, but at the same time, it makes you think, and it opens up the culture of a totally different country, and also certain customs which we were not aware of. And so you are being taken into those customs and those culture which is totally alien to the life that the narrator is leading now, and maybe that is his intention. Liu is using a narrator in order to narrate a story which will take you from the modern world to an ancient world, and from and also to a different culture, from the Western culture to the Eastern culture. And this is something that he had to do before us, as if though he is compelled to write this out and bring forth the name of his mother. Maybe there is a reason. Let's wait patiently for the other pages to reveal itself. As I told you earlier, a short story is a very short story which can be read at one sitting, and this is exactly what Liu had in mind. You will not move until after you have finished reading the whole short story. Though it is a few pages, I know that because it is not a very short story, but it is a little bit lengthy, but it is interesting lengthy. I can tell you. Very interesting. Finish off reading the story, of course. That is good. If you can, if you have the book with you, or even read it from the net, it is available there. But you will also have to keep in mind certain things, because you are now reading this short story from the point of view of a literature student, and you have to know what is there from just the outside world, outside, or the first reading. There is a deeper reading for the short story. Let's see what that deeper meaning is. This is our duty as literature students and as a literature teacher. Let's see what he has got in store for us. And you will really enjoy reading the story. And I hope you will have a good time finishing off this short story. We'll continue this in the next class. Thank you.